Suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment.
But Will like guys.
Huh?
Will like guys.
How you know?
I live in LA. Does that make sense to you?
Will Smith is now staring down a lawsuit filed by touring violinist Brian King Joseph, and the allegations are turning heads fast. Joseph claims there was harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination tied to Smith's Based on a True Story 2025 tour. The lawsuit names both Smith and Trey Boss Studio Management as defendants and doesn't hold back, accusing the entertainer of engaging in predatory conduct. According to the filing, Joseph says he was first hired in November 2024 to perform at a San Diego show before being invited to join Smith's 2025 tour and collaborate on his upcoming album. The complaint alleges that what started as a professional opportunity slowly shifted, with the relationship progressing in ways Joseph now describes as troubling and deeply uncomfortable.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk about something really important. Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. Unfortunately, some things happened, and I can't get into the details of exactly what that was because it's already a legal issue right now. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that simply for reporting sexual misconduct or safety threats at work is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you. And that's pretty much it. More updates to come soon. Thanks for listening.
The suit claims Smith made comments suggesting an unusually close personal bond, including telling Joseph they shared a special connection he supposedly didn't have with anyone else. Joseph alleges that this dynamic later opened the door to behavior he says crossed professional boundaries and raised serious concerns. We're going to get into this case and so much more, but before we do, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this case and everything else unfolding around it. Now let's get back into it. Before we go any further, this needs to be said loud and clear. These are allegations. This is a lawsuit filed in court, and nothing has been proven yet. That said, what's being alleged is serious, unsettling, and honestly hard to ignore. So let's break it down and walk through the factual allegations laid out in the complaint. The plaintiff is a professional violinist who says he became employed by the defendants in connection with a high-profile live tour, working as both a touring musician and crew member after studio sessions and collaborations with several well-known artists. According to the complaint, he was referred to the defendants for a potential recording opportunity, and soon after, two representatives reached out about coming to Smith's residence for an introduction that could change everything. In or around November 2024, the suit says Omar provided the plaintiff with Smith's address, where he met Smith in person and showcased his violin skills. During that same meeting, Smith allegedly invited the plaintiff to join him for an upcoming San Diego performance scheduled for December 2024, with the bigger promise of eventually joining the global Based on a True Story 2025 tour looming in the background. By December 2024, the plaintiff performed at Smith's San Diego show and claims he was quickly pulled deeper into the production. The complaint alleges Smith encouraged him to become more involved, calling him a valued member of the group and gradually giving him more stage time and featured moments during live performances. From there, the suit claims Smith invited the plaintiff to play on several tracks for his upcoming album, pushing their professional relationship even closer. The filing alleges they began spending more time alone together, with Smith telling the plaintiff that, "You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else," along with other comments that the plaintiff says signaled an unusually close and concerning dynamic. After a 2-month break following the December performance, the plaintiff says he received official touring documents and detailed plans for Smith's global tour. The tour was set to run for several months, complete with a full performance schedule, and the complaint claims the plaintiff relied heavily on this commitment when preparing for what was supposed to be a major career move. According to the filing, the plaintiff informed the defendant's representatives that he would be spending thousands of dollars on additional musical equipment, medication, and and other essentials needed for the long tour ahead. Then, in or around March 2025, the plaintiff joined Smith for the first leg of the tour in Las Vegas, Nevada, officially stepping into what he believed was a locked-in role. The lawsuit states that the defendants booked hotel rooms for the plaintiff, along with the rest of the band and crew, and sent out individual room numbers and confirmation codes to each person. This information was reportedly shared on a spreadsheet circulated to cast and crew, and the complaint emphasizes that no one outside the crew or hotel staff should have had access to the plaintiff's personal room. The filing further alleges that the plaintiff left his bag, which contained his room key, inside the van used to transport cast and crew members around 11 a.m. When the group was dropped off at the venue for rehearsal, the plaintiff asked management at 3 p.m. to retrieve the bag, only to be told they couldn't locate it at the time. By 5 p.m., management returned with the bag, which still contained the plaintiff's room key, according to the complaint. Then, on or about March 20th, 2025, at approximately 11 p.m., while staying at a Las Vegas hotel for a scheduled performance on the tour, the timeline takes a turn that the lawsuit claims is critical to what happened next. The plaintiff says he returned to his assigned hotel room and immediately noticed signs that someone unknown had unlawfully entered while he was gone. According to hotel security, there were no signs of forced entry, and the only people with authorized access to the room would have been members of the defendant's management team who originally booked it for him. The complaint states this information was documented through phone calls between the plaintiff and hotel security. Inside the room, the plaintiff claims he discovered disturbing evidence, including a handwritten note addressed to him by name that read, "Brian, I'll be back no later than 5:30 p.m. Just us draw on Hearthstone. F." A message that allegedly raised immediate alarm. According to the filing, additional items were left behind that did not belong to the plaintiff, including wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication labeled with another individual's name, an earring, and hospital discharge paperwork belonging to someone the plaintiff did not know. The complaint says these items made it clear that someone else had been inside the room without his consent. The plaintiff alleges he feared that the unknown individual might return to the room to engage in sexual acts, leaving him deeply concerned for his personal safety and the safety of fellow performers and crew members. Acting quickly, he says he notified hotel security and representatives for the defendants, obtained photo documentation, requested a room change, and contacted the local non-emergency police line, 311, to formally report the incident. According to the lawsuit, the plaintiff followed every instruction given by the defendant's management team. He filed a full written incident report with hotel security, communicated directly with hotel management, and offered to provide all relevant information and documentation to the defendants as the situation continued to unfold. The plaintiff made it clear his only concern was safety, and he wasn't asking for special treatment or extra pay. On or about March 21st, 2025, he returned to Los Angeles the next day to support the cast and crew for a pre-recorded show, but was stopped at the gate of normalcy when told by Tim Miller it was too late to enter through the crew entrance. They'd see him in New Mexico weeks later for the next leg of the tour. By March 23, 2025, the scene was already shifting. The plaintiff reached out to Miller about the upcoming schedule on March 24, 2025, hoping for clarity and protection after the March 20th incident. Instead of support, Miller started pointing fingers and blaming the plaintiff for what happened, turning a safety complaint into a credibility test. When the plaintiff pushed for answers, he was met with a shocking response and then told he was being fired. Tim Miller, speaking for the defendants, redirected blame straight at the plaintiff, literally saying, "I don't know. You tell me because everyone is telling me that what happened to you is a lie. Nothing happened and you made the whole thing up. So you tell me, why did you lie and make this up?" That line, the complaint says, was the final straw. Shame instead of shelter and termination instead. The plaintiff says he was shocked by the accusations and felt he had nothing more to explain, believing the report, evidence, and emotional turmoil from the night before spoke for themselves, just as Miller requested. Still, he submitted detailed evidence and a full timeline of the events from March 20th, 2025, trying to clearly lay out the traumatic chain of events that unfolded that evening. According to the complaint, the defendants made no real effort to verify whether the safety concern was valid. The filing states that a single call to hotel security could have confirmed the situation, but that step was never taken. Instead, the plaintiff alleges the defendants were focused on firing him because he reported what he described as an attempted actual assault. while Miller also claimed, both in person and via email, that the tour was moving in a different direction, using that as justification for the termination. Here's where things get even louder. After the plaintiff was terminated, the defendants allegedly hired another violinist to fill the exact same role on the tour, undermining their stated reasoning. The new hire even publicly stated, "I'm Tiffany, and I play the violin." A detail the complaint says strongly suggests the explanation for termination was pretextual and not the real reason at all. The plaintiff further alleges that the defendant's conduct goes far beyond a simple failure to protect an employee or a disagreement over a report. The filing claims the facts point to a disturbing pattern, alleging that Willard Carroll Smith II was deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further exploitation, with prior statements, timing, and the hotel room incident all lining up in a way that suggests predatory behavior rather than an isolated mistake. The plaintiff alleges that the defendant's actions caused him severe emotional distress, financial loss, reputational damage, and lasting personal harm. According to the filing, the stress of losing his job took a serious toll on his health, leading to major psychological damage that he says changed his life in a real way. The complaint states the plaintiff suffered from PTSD and other mental health conditions as a direct result of the termination and the events surrounding it. He claims the emotional weight of being dismissed after reporting a safety concern compounded the trauma, leaving him struggling long after the tour moved on. Now, in this lawsuit, Brian King Joseph is seeking financial compensation for emotional distress, lost income, and damage to his career, along with punitive damages and legal fees. He is bringing multiple claims, including retaliation, wrongful termination, actual harassment, and violations of California labor and civil rights laws. Specifically, the lawsuit cites violations under the Fair Employment and Housing Act, the Labor Code, the Bain Act, and the Ralph Act. While the complaint doesn't name a specific dollar amount, Joseph is requesting a jury trial and argues that any damages awarded should reflect the serious emotional, psychological, and professional harm he says he suffered because of the alleged misconduct and retaliation. And one important point stands out here. This lawsuit is not actually centered on identifying who physically entered the hotel room. It's focused on what happened after, how the situation was handled, and the consequences Joseph claims he faced for speaking up. At the heart of this case is retaliation and how everything was handled after the fact in civil court. The plaintiff does not have to prove that Will Smith personally entered the hotel room or that a crime occurred beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, the standard is much lower. He must show that he reported a safety or harassment concern, that his employer knew about it, and that he was fired or punished shortly after in a way that appears connected to that report. That distinction matters, and it's a huge part of why this case is getting so much attention. Civil court isn't about criminal guilt. It's about patterns, timing, and whether the response crossed legal lines. When you look at it through that lens, this lawsuit becomes less about what happened in the room and more about what happened after the report was made. All in all, this is going to be very interesting to watch as it unfolds. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this case between Will Smith and Brian King Joseph? Drop your thoughts in the comments because you already know we're talking about it down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, share this video, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any new episodes or updates as this case continues to develop. To